I'm going to go ahead and read the press release, and we're going to ask brief comments from each of the sovereigns that are represented at the table this morning or this afternoon, and following that we'll open it up for questions. For immediate release, my name is Faith Spotted Eagle, and I would like to do this on behalf of the Oceti-Sakowin and the other nations that are here. May 18th, 2013, Rapid City, South Dakota. The headline, Sovereign Nations Reject So-Called Tribal Consultation with the KXL Pipeline and Walk Out of Meeting with U.S. State Department. On this historic day of May 16, 2013, 10 sovereign indigenous nations maintained that the proposed Trans-Canada Keystone XL pipeline does not serve the national interest and in fact would be detrimental not only to the collected sovereigns but all future generations on planet Earth. This morning, the following sovereigns informed the Department of State tribal consultation effort at the Hilton Garden Inn in Rapid City, South Dakota, that the gathering was not recognized as a valid consultation on a nation-to-nation level. The Southern Ponca, the Pawnee Nation, the Nez Perce Nation, and the following Oceti-Sakowin 7 Council Fires people. The Sissetuan, Wakbetuan, Oyate, the Ihangtuan Dakota, Yankton Sioux, the Rosebud Sioux Tribe, the Oglala Sioux Tribe, the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, the Lower Brule Sioux Tribe, Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe, and the Crow Creek Sioux Tribe. The Great Plains Tribal Chairmen's Association supports this position, which is in solidarity with elected leaders, treaty councils, and the grassroots community, and it is guided by spiritual leaders. On Sunday, May 18th, the sacred pipe bundle of the Oceti-Sakowin will be brought out to pray with the people to stop KXL pipeline, and we understand that other tribal nation prayer circles will also gather to do the same. Pursuant to Executive Order 13175, the above sovereigns directed the DOS to invite President Obama to engage in true nation-to-nation consultation with them at the nearest date at a designated location to be communicated by each of the above sovereigns. After delivering that message, the large contingent of tribal people walked out of the DOS meeting and asked the other tribal people present at the table to support this effort and to leave the meeting. Eventually, all remaining tribal representatives and tribal historic preservation officers and others left the meeting at the direct urging of the grassroots organization Owe Aku. Moccasins on the ground and protect the sacred are preparing communities to resist the Keystone XL pipeline through Keystone blockade training. This unprecedented unity of tribes against the desecration of Inamaka, Mother Earth, was motivated by the signing on January 25th, 2013 of the historic international treaty to protect the sacred against the tar sands. The signatories were the Pawnee Nation, the Ponca Nation, the Ihangtuan Dakota, and the Oglala Lakota. Since then, 10 First Nations chiefs in Canada have signed the treaty to protect themselves against tar sands development in Canada. The above sovereigns notify President Obama to consult with each one of them because of the following. The nations have had no direct role in identifying and evaluating cultural resources. The nations question the status of the programmatic agreement and how it may not be amended. The nations are deeply concerned about potential pipeline impacts on natural resources, especially our water, potential spills and leaks, groundwater and surface water contamination. The nations have no desire to contribute to climate change, to which the pipeline will directly contribute. The nations recognize that the pipeline will increase environmental injustice, disproportionately impacting Native communities. The nations deplore the environmental impacts of tar sands mining being endured by tribes in Canada. The pipeline would service the tar sands extractive industry. The nations insist that their treaty rights be respected. The pipeline would violate them. The nations support an energy policy that promotes renewables and efficiency instead of one that features fossil fuels. The nations regard the consultation process as flawed in favor of corporate interests. The sovereigns of these nations contend that it is not in Americans' interest to facilitate and contribute to environmental devastation on the scale caused by the extraction of tar sands in Canada. America would be better served by a comprehensive program to reduce its reliance on oil and to invest in the development and deployment of sustainable energy technologies such as electric vehicles that are charged using solar and wind power. The indigenous nations of Turtle Island have always been considered as distinct, independent political communities, retaining their original rights as the undisputed possessors of the earth and water from time immemorial. This is recognized in the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. If the Keystone XL pipeline is allowed to be built, TransCanada, a Canadian corporation, would be occupying sacred treaty lands as reserved in the 1851 and 1868 Fort Laramie treaties. It will be stopped by unified resistance. Wopida. Thank you. At this time, we would like to request that the elected representatives, which include chairs, council, and treaty council individuals, to come up and make brief comments, and after they've done that, we'll open it up for questions. We'd like to start with Wilmer.
My name is Wilmer Mestis. My Lakota name is Stampede Wanoka Nadita, and I'm a spiritual leader from the Oglala Sioux tribe. And I'm speaking in behalf of our tribe and our elders and our children and our women. Today is a historic event. It took place here in Luzahe, Rapid City, South Dakota, right here in the heart of the Black Hills. This morning, Department of State met here today, and we as tribes, sovereign tribes, came together, and we refused to meet with middlemen. Our leaders stated this morning that they would rather speak with the heads of state, Obama himself. These are our heads of state that took this action today. The leaders of our nations, the Oglala Nation. Sichanhu, Munkpapha, Itazipcho, Owo Hinupa, Sihasapa. All the nations, Lakota nations together. Cheti Shakui, Sisituma, Kui Chasha. All these Lakota nation tribes met here this morning and stand in solidarity against the further encroachment upon treaty territories of the peoples across this land. North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, going south to Oklahoma. And tribes come gathered here this morning and made a statement to the nation and to the world. And this morning, our esteemed tribal president spoke here and made a statement here to the Department of State that we'll no longer deal in those type of dealings. You know, years ago in history, you all remember the oral history, our grandparents told us of the way our lands were stolen. They brought priests like Father DeSmith. They brought commissioners, came from Washington. And every time they swindled behind a cross in the name of Jesus and Christianity, they swindled these lands away from our people. And every time we confronted them, our ancestors did that. And their history is great history. They were powerful warriors and chiefs, decision makers. And they had to stand up to defend this Makoche, this land. Not only the Black Hills, but our Aboriginal territory of our people. And they met that challenge, that invasion, every time. And every time they met that, they sacrificed, and warriors fell, and blood was spilled. And to this day, we have to stand. An invasion again. Foreign companies coming down from Canada. Billionaires, those billionaires backed the companies up. You don't see them here. People from the United States government here speaking for them. Those are middlemen. We want the President of the United States to come here and answer questions. Why are they going to come here again, once again, through our treaty territories? And why are they going to tear up this earth? Those oil, just like the gold and silver that they took out of this Black Hills, the Creator placed that there in that ground for a reason. So that this earth, that's how this earth survived. And we get our livelihood from it. But they extract that gold and silver, and now it's oil, tar sands oil. When you bring that upon the earth, you took it from its place in the time of creation. And you brought a power on this earth that may hurt us, the human being. Because God placed it in there in the ground. And it should remain there in the ground. Yes. That's what we're talking about. Indigenous people. We're from this earth. This flesh that we have. God made us in the time of creation and put us on this fertile island. Every tribe, we have sacred bundles, we have sacred sites that we defend, and that our ancestors spilled their blood for. To this day, I'm glad to see our leaders stand up once again. And I'm happy. And it made me feel strong today, again. And I want to stand behind our leaders, support them 100%. I'm a spiritual leader with my people. And I encourage my people back home, to gather their strength, gather their forces, their families, gather our elders, our spiritual people. Let's meet this invasion once again as a people. And that's what I want to say from behalf of our tribe, the Lakota Nation. The other tribes and your chairman, your esteemed leaders, Together, you can accomplish what seems impossible. But we'll have that strength to do it today and tomorrow. And our elders, our women, our children, young people coming forward, my nieces and nephews, stand and speak for your people. Yellow, when we talk, I'd
like to invite Chairman Brewer. I'd like to request, we're trying for the 5 o'clock news. So if you could limit your comments to about 2 or 3 minutes. Chairman Brewer.
Thank you, Faith. My name is Returns the Winner. My English name is Brian Brewer. I'd like to thank all of you for coming. I'm going to keep this statement very short. Today, with the help of other nations, we stopped a consultation with the federal government. There were still tribes who tried to stay, but with the help from the grassroots people, moccasins on the ground, those people left. And I'd like to thank those tribes that stayed, and I'd like to thank them for getting up and walking out with us.
Oh.
We will not meet with the federal government. As the president of the Oglala Sioux tribe, and the government to government, I will only meet with President Obama or Vice President. I'd like to thank all of you for coming. What we're faced today is very serious. Our children, our water, our land. We have to look 30 years down the road here. What's going to happen to our people? We can lose all of this with this pipeline. And we all have to work together, Indians, non-Indians. We have to come together and work hard. Won't be long.
We invite the chairman of the Nez Perce tribe to come up. Silas Whitman.